Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is the channel where myself, Paul, and my wife, we document our journey of moving our lives and our business from the UK to Cyprus. Where am I right now? Well, I'm actually sat on the balcony of our villa here in Paya, and that view behind me is just, I can't imagine that getting boring, to be honest. We've been in this villa now for 5 days. That. We're heading back to the UK tonight because we've got stuff to do over there. We still haven't sold our house. We've got to move all of our stuff into storage, all of that basically. We're hoping to be back for about a month in November. Then we'll go back to the UK for Christmas. Hopefully in the new year we'll be here permanently. That's what we're aiming for anyway. But we had to come over here because there was a few errands we needed to do and things we had to get sorted out for our immigration. And one of those things is getting the electricity bill into our name, because you need to have a utility bill in your name for immigration. And most of the people over here end up getting the electricity bill into their name. I think probably because it's the easiest and also it's the most expensive as well. That's the one that really fluctuates. So it makes sense to do that. So I'm going to briefly talk about what it took us in order to get the electricity bill put into our name and what we went through to do it. And it was really straightforward actually. So the first thing you need is your rental agreement, or of course the deeds to your house, whatever it is, if you've purchased. But this rental agreement obviously needs to have your address on there, and it needs to be signed and witnessed by yourselves and also by the landlords. It also needs to have the legal stamps on there as well, which you can get done at the local tax office. And once you've got that, you also need to take a photo of the actual meter itself, your electricity meter. So there's two photos that I took. One is of the actual meter reading, and the other one is if you kind of step back and take a picture of like the whole box. And I didn't really understand why we needed to do that. I was told to do this, but it all becomes clear a little later on. Anyway, you take this and you take it to the EAC, which is the electricity department here in Paphos. It's a big black building. It's a really nice modern looking one. As you walk into the entrance of that, on the right hand side is someone who sat there by a desk. You just tell him exactly what you want to do. You're not greeted with any smiles, by the way, and like the interaction and customer service over there was just non-existent. But you mustn't take that personally. It's just Cyprus. That's just how things are sometimes. So we're led to believe anyway, and so we've been told. Once he's told you what to do, he'll tell you just to go sit down and wait. And we've been warned in the past that this could take, you might be sat there for an hour, depending on how busy it was, you know, all of this. But luckily for us, it was actually empty. And we sat down for about 3 minutes, and then we were called over to one of the tellers, if you like. And we just sat opposite the desk to them. We gave them our rental agreement and our passports as well. You need your ID. And then they wanted to see the photos of the meter. So the first photo was the meter reading. They plug away in the computer, get up, you know, have a look at everything. And then the actual larger photo, what they're looking for is a serial number, a special ID number. And that is the actual account number as such, what that meter box is assigned to. So what they do is they type that number into their computer, it brings up the address of that, they then marry that up with your rental agreement, they check your ID, they check the balance. If there's anything outstanding, you'll need to pay that. And luckily for us, there wasn't. But then you also need to pay a deposit to move it all across. For us, it was €350 because we're outside of the EU. I believe that if you're in the EU, it's €300. Now, I'm also led to believe, and this is only based on a small amount of research, so don't take this for granted, but I'm led to believe that you're basically not going to get that deposit back. I think it's possible, but it's just like very unlikely, and it's more hassle than it's actually worth. So yeah, I think that's €350 we're not going to see again. But anyway, they did this. They printed out a piece of paper which we signed, etc. They did loads of photocopies of all of our documents and our passports and things like that. And then they give you a piece of paper which is in Greek, but that is essentially your proof that the electricity is now in your name. Because when you go to immigration appointments, when you go to bank appointments to open up accounts and things like that, you need to have a utility bill. But of course, your electricity bill here is only once every 2 months. So they give you this piece of paper as a bit of a proof that it works, that it's all moved across. And yeah, that did work. All in all, we were in and out probably within about half an hour, I imagine. It was very straightforward. Once they give you the paperwork, they then tell you to go around the corner, in the building this is, just around the corner, to the cashier, where you give them the stuff, you pay your deposit, job done, you walk out, and that's that. It was really straightforward, actually. And yeah, hopefully when you go through this process, it's just as easy as what it was for us. If you have a different experience, I'd love to know. Leave a comment below. But otherwise, if you like what you're listening to here and you just like this plain, simple, direct talk on exactly what we're experiencing and how it can probably help you move across here as well, then subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.